Hello, everybody. This is Sri from BizBuzz. What matters the most in your business? We are coming back with another topic today. And before I do that, um, BizBuzz is sponsored by MyWorkBelt. MyWorkBelt is a all-in-one software for running your service-based business. Check it out, www.myworkbelt.com. And my great guest, Craig, who needs no introduction if you've been following us. And if you are new to us, Craig is a principal ally at Allies for Me, located in Texas, and great marketing guru. If you have not done anything with marketing, talk to me. Craig, how are you doing?
Sri, I'm doing wonderfully. It's so good to see you again. Sorry that things are cold and icy in Detroit.
Well, that's what the Mother Nature do. When you are in Michigan, you have to embrace all four seasons. That is incredibly beautiful. In Michigan, we have a great summer, great water sports. You cannot ask any more water than what we have in Michigan. And fall, the beautiful colors, winter, the ice, snow, and interesting weather conditions. You embrace it, and spring will be the most joyful springtime that will bring you a great deal of optimism.
Yeah.
So, speaking of that interesting dynamics of nature, now we are talking about small businesses. And in order to grow small business, the business owners have to do all kinds of activities, right? We talked about marketing activities, we talked about speaking engagements, we talked about referral activities, all kinds of things. But one of the topics that we have not talked about is networking, right? So, what do you think the importance and relevance of networking to a small business and a small business owner or a leader? What's your take on that?
You know, it's there are so many reasons networking is essential. Now, we've talked a lot about how if you're in a referral only business, it just means you haven't been able to build trust with strangers. And I think some people have misunderstood that. I was saying stop looking for referrals. No, referrals are great. You want referrals, and networking is the place to do it. The you know, it's think about it as expanding your reach. And I would even in networking, I would even pull LinkedIn into this. People who go into LinkedIn, a lot of people misunderstand what LinkedIn is. LinkedIn is a platform for networking. It's not a platform for selling, it's a platform for networking.
Professional networking, yes.
And and so ultimately, you know, you want to be able to expand your reach. You want to be able to expand the number of people that you're touching. And there are a few ways of doing that. You can get on stage and you expand your reach to anybody that is in front of that stage. But sometimes getting on stage is hard. And there's not as many events. And post COVID, I've noticed that attendance on conferences is way down. So networking, though, seems to be going just as strong as it was before COVID. And so, from one angle, it's a simple math thing. And I'm going to throw in an important qualifier. You want to meet with people that run into your ideal clients. And so I've been a part of some networking groups, and I was a part of one. I actually got a wonderful piece of business out of it. But I have one of the people in that networking group say, Craig, why are you here? Nobody here can afford your services. No, nobody here is the type of company that you work with. There was one exception, and it was a big exception. We got a really good piece of business out of it, but for the most part, he was right. And so I think when you're looking at networking, don't just do it as a checkbox item of I'm going to network because that's what Sri and Craig told me to do. Um, when you're picking where you're networking, make sure you're networking with people who encounter your customers. and
That is
so
a foundation for networking. If you go to networking events thinking that you're going to get business from the people you are meeting, that is definitely one expectation, nothing wrong with it. Fundamentally, you want to come across as a helping professional problem solver in such a way that the people that you're meeting networking will take you to your customer,
yeah, yep,
right?
exactly. And so I was a part of a networking group that I really enjoyed, and I discontinued my membership there because very simply, the people there weren't my clients and they didn't encounter my clients. And so, I've started a network. That's actually how you and I met. I reached out
Indeed,
through,
you and I met that way.
yeah. And this is a better engagement because I talk to people that are your ideal clients. You talk to people that are my ideal clients.
Indeed, indeed.
And I have a number of people that I meet with on a monthly basis. There's something else, and I want to make sure we don't miss this. There's another thing, another great opportunity in networking that I don't know if everybody thinks about. When you network, it gives you an idea, opportunity to test different messages.
Oh,
And so you have an opportunity that there was a networking group I was a part of. I was the one that I left because my ideal clients weren't there. But every week, we would go around and you would do a 30-second introduction in terms of what you did. And so that was a place for me to test different messages. And I found it very good for me to be able to kind of refine my messaging and hone it down to make it understandable to other people.
that's actually a very interesting point you brought up. When I started business, not that this I'm trying to plug in for BNI networking group, but that's one of the world's largest networking group I was part of. And as a networking process, you have to stand up and give your commercial for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever the size of the group means. And I was always changing my messages, not knowing that I am testing my messages, but that's what I was doing it.
Yeah,
It's an incredible opportunity to really refine your marketing message, why you're doing, what you're offering, which one will click and which one will resonate with the people, whether they need your help or not, but at least it piques their interest. Now, this message is piquing people's interest.
yeah, yeah. And let me throw out another networking opportunity that a lot of people miss: podcasting.
Yes.
Um, and I see so many people approach podcasting with the wrong mindset. They show up at the podcast and they think, I'm going to get here, I'm going to get my message, they're going to put it out, and I'm never going to talk to this person again.
Uh-huh.
And that's such a huge missed opportunity. And I will tell you, as a podcast host and a podcast guest, so I've recorded over 180 podcasts of my own, where I was the host, and I've been on over 100 podcasts where I was the guest. And
With me
the
is over 20.
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. And the thing the thing that I find that's so disappointing is when when I realize that they're just there, we're going to do the recording, we're going to move on. If you're a guest on a podcast, there's a chance that whoever's the host knows your ideal client and interacts with them on a regular basis,
Indeed. Indeed. Yes. Yes.
and vice versa. And so I'll tell you a question I ask at the end of my podcast. Um, and this is after we're done recording. I look at my guest and I say, if you could snap your fingers and make one change to your business that would change the trajectory of your business, what would that one thing be? And about 1 out of 3 times, they have a problem I can help them solve. But 2 out of 3 times, it's a problem I can't help them solve, but I probably know somebody
Solve the
else
problem.
who can. And and that's the thing that I think a lot of people miss. And that has become the number one way that I refer people as number one way. And I have one guy that's a little bit embarrassed because I've sent him so many referrals. Um, and he feels bad because he hasn't
Not able
reciprocated.
to
But
reciprocate.
yeah, but it's if we're going to talk about podcasting, I know we're kind of at the end. I think it'd be a huge miss if I didn't tell your audience, look at podcasting, but look at it as a way of networking.
Networking. Indeed, indeed. If somebody is doing podcasts, they just have to, on the other side, if somebody is hosting a podcast, and when they come across all these guests over the course of a year, 2 years, 3 years, they will be very familiar and connected with the 50, 100 guests who came onto their podcast. And that is more or less is your strength. And if the podcast host can take that network and turn it into a fruitful result, referral sources, that can be a great help for growing a business. However, the referral source comes only when you make it as a two-way street, not as a one-way street. So, no, great. Thank you very much, Craig. That is a great wisdom as always. So, we are recognizing in this discussion networking is an important activity for any business to grow. And in doing so, business owners should go into networking events, whether it's in person or Zoom call, with a mindset that how can I be a problem solver or come across as a problem solver, opposed to trying to become a business card passing machine. That is key to networking and key to success of the networking activity. And very few people track who they are meeting and how they are connected, how much they are communicating with that person they connected. And those tracking is a little bit of a pain in the neck, but without tracking, you really don't know how much fruitful is that activity. So my recommendation for those who are listening and going into networking events and practicing the networking, be take a moment to track. It doesn't take any more than 2 minutes, if not 5 minutes a day when you go there for networking. Thank you very much, Craig, for joining me today. And audience and listeners, I'm hoping that you pick up a new point and new takeaway from this podcast and like us, subscribe us, and share our podcast so that others can take advantage of the business content that we are helping. We all collectively, small businesses, have to try, survive, and thrive together. A good one. Thank you very much, Craig.
Thank you.